crazy. People ride in the streets.
Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Tari from The Authenticity of Me. I started this channel. I started it because I wanted to give place and give voice to the things that happen in my life. And if I could give some information to help someone else, that I thought that I should take that upon myself and do that. Whether it was about breastfeeding, whether it was about tubal reversal, whether it's just about life. And right now, this one is just about life. I know there are questions out there in reference to how does everyone feel about the George Floyd situation. I can only tell you how I feel and the conversation about what I experienced in my own life and how I feel about it. So let's just get into it. George Floyd's death has caused a civil unrest yet again. And I say yet again because it happened with Eric Gardner. It happened with Freddie Gray. I was in Baltimore, Maryland when Freddie Gray died. And I remember the riots at that time. And they were crazy. But I understand. So first and foremost, what I would say to someone is, no one, white, black, Asian, nothing, should ever have to feel their life slip away at the hands of a police officer that is charged with protecting and serving his community. And when you say his community, that should not just be who he feels that he has the right to or not to serve. And at the end of the day, this man, Derek Chauvin, I hope I said his name right, has taken the life of someone in his community. And that I just don't understand. I mean, the thing that bothered me the most is that while he was laying there and his life was slipping out of his body, he seemed unbothered. He seemed that it wasn't bothering him, that no matter how long this man cried out, that it didn't bother him. Now, many people may say, we don't have a race problem, we have a police problem. At the end of the day, we have a police problem because we have a race problem. We would not have a race problem if everyone on the police force was a loving, caring person. They took care of everything. But I can't say that that's so. Now, I have police officers as friends. I have family members in the law enforcement industry as far as law, justice. My sister is an attorney. So I understand that part of law. My stepfather is a magistrate in Conway, South Carolina. So I understand that. And I'm not saying that everyone, I have some people that I went to college with that are right now currently serving as police officers. But that's not what we're talking about. So at the end of the day, when I stand here and I'm talking about the civil unrest that has been caused because this man was murdered. And I'm thankful that the police chief fired him immediately. But the fact that he was able to fire him immediately because he had just cause should have been somebody had some kind of court case to go up against him. But I understand it doesn't always happen like that. So I digress on that. But what I want to understand is, how can we move forward from this? The first thing is we have to have the conversation. Have the conversation about what is it that is causing this. Now, you have many comments that might be said as, hey, why can't you get past the years of oppression? Why can't you get past? Just let it go. We need healing. The first place that needs healing is the fact that y'all need to get over it. But is that really how you're going to get someone to get over it? The fact that we have the conversation and you come out of your mouth and say stuff like that tells me, one, that you're not emotionally intelligent enough to share with somebody and show like, hey, am I self-aware to know that this conversation, one, is insensitive to someone? You can't say to someone, get past it, if you first don't want to acknowledge that it even happened, and that the fact that it's still happening, the fact that we no longer are slaves doesn't mean that we're no longer being treated as such, being dehumanized as such. That's the problem. And so I had a friend call me this week and asked me, what do we have to do to heal this? And my thing was, have the conversation, the hard conversations, the conversation that you don't want to talk about, but at the end of the day needs to be said. And we need to sit down in a group and say, hey, let me tell you my story. Because at the end of the day, the problem that you have is that nobody wants to acknowledge that my story as a Black woman in America is different than a Caucasian woman in America. We have to acknowledge that white privilege exists, that you don't have to get out of your car, be followed in a grocery store because someone assumes that you're stealing because of the color of your skin, that I don't have to go and be pulled over by the cops and say, man, could this be the worst 5 minutes of my life because I'm Black and I'm driving while Black, or I'm walking while Black. And then someone uses the color of my skin to get the police officers to you faster than you would if you just said, hey, there's somebody here harassing me. But no, it's not someone here harassing me. It's a Black person here harassing me. And I want you to come, because that is part of the problem. The fact that we have implicit bias. Implicit bias is when someone uses the stereotypes that are created to unconsciously treat someone different based upon those stereotypes. Now, I could say the stereotypes are that all Caucasian people murder people, all Caucasian people molest people, so I don't let you hang out with my kids because you molest people, and that's what I think that you're gonna do. But I don't do that. As my experience as a Black person, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt to be in a relationship with me, to be in a friendship with me, to be associated with me. Once you show me who you are, I deal with you accordingly. So the fact that everyone treats us differently based upon the color of our skin, whether if I'm pulled over and harassed more frequently than someone who is the counterpart to me is a Caucasian person. So we have to acknowledge that, that this stuff is happening. We have to acknowledge this. I grew up in the South, so I know what I experienced in the South. The first thing I ever experienced being called the N-word, I was 8 or 9 years old. And that happened, and my community came together and ostracized those people until they came to a place where it's like, hey, I want to play with you. But it was everyone, and it wasn't me. So the second thing that I would say to you is, we have to do, it's not just a Black thing. It's not just a Black people thing. It's like if I talk to my husband and I'm saying, hey, it's not my responsibility to deal with the military personnel that's being disrespectful because you're the military member. You are the one who should stand up for that. And I say the same thing to my counterparts. I say the same thing. Hey, if it's you that is the person who's not being, but the person that if you're a Caucasian and the Black person is being harassed or being wronged by other Caucasian people, it should be Caucasian people that stand up and say, hey, this is wrong and this is what we need to do. And you need to have those conversations. Everyone in my life isn't racist. Everyone that I come in contact hasn't been racist. You have to understand, when we say this stuff is happening, we are saying it does happen and this is my experience. And we're not saying every Caucasian person that we come in contact with is racist, but we do want to accept and be acknowledged that this stuff is happening. And the fact that people continue to wipe it under the rug is part of the problem. And I say, and this is what I told my husband, the government and the military, for I can only speak for myself, is out here telling other people what to do and forcing other people in what to do, whether it's about other human rights or other things like that. And I'm like, hey, you don't even treat the people in your country right. So how are you going to go and tell someone else how to treat their people, how to treat those people? And I understand that we're talking about human rights, but you got to clean your own front door first before you go out trying to help someone else. And so that's one of the things that it bugs me. The third thing is understand that, like I said again, my experience is not your experience. Understand that I do have to have a conversation with my son about how to act in front of the police, how to pull out your ID, how to keep your hands visible where they can see them so that they don't assume that you're a threat, because every black person doesn't look alike and every black person isn't going to do the same thing. They're not all aggressive. And the fact that they even think that we are all aggressive even is one of the more irritating things. So I'm here to tell you, I stand in solidarity with you. And I want you to understand that I love you. I love my white friends. I love my Asian friends. I love all of everyone because I want everyone to succeed. But that's my heart. And I just want for us to be able to have the conversation, to be able to talk about these things. Now, I'm going to tell you, one of the things that bothers most people is the fact that you just kind of throw it away, that you're so busy trying to have a response with statistics and black on black crime and all these things, that you miss what's happening. You're missing what people are saying and you're not hearing them. So I'm saying, if we're going to have this conversation, hear me. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to and value my opinion. I'm not saying all lives don't matter, but what I am saying is right now, the black lives is what is being destroyed behind police brutality and racism. Like I said, I can only be true to who I am, and I would be remiss if I didn't give place to this conversation. If you want to have a legit conversation about this and how we can do things and how we can move forward, then I'm willing to sit down and have a powwow about this stuff. But if you don't and you can't, let's say I'm not here for the negativity. I'm here so that we can solve problems. Until next time, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, let me know how I'm doing. But understand that we are only fighting for the chance for my kids to go past here and not have to experience death at the hand of someone that's supposed to protect them. And I'm telling you, George Floyd did not deserve that. Eric Gardner did not deserve that. Philando Castro did not deserve that. I can say to you, I had an experience when I was in high school where I actually a gun was pulled on me, not because of something that I didn't do, but because of something that I did do. But I'm saying, if I had done this now in 2020, could I say that I would be living right now? Could I say that this would be my story, that I would be able to raise my own children? I can't say that. And so I'm saying we have a problem with racism in this country. We have a problem with dehumanizing black people in this country, brown people in this country. And somebody has to start from, even if it's just a conversation that we have in our own house, somebody needs to stand up. And I'm standing up for my family, and I'm standing up for those people who can't say anything, because my son, he's only 14 years old, and he's already had the cops called on him and accused of stealing at 7 and 8 years old, and no one took the time to pick up the phone and say, hey, is this your son? Is this the culture? And what can we do about it? And my son was traumatized from that. And I'm saying, I don't want someone else's son to be traumatized. I'm saying someone else's son is on a slab because of the decisions that cops make. There should be some type of reform and penalties for people who are paid to protect us, not to race control us. So I'm saying, if you want to have the conversation, let me know. I'm here. Send me an email, send me a letter, send me a comment. I'm here for it. I will respond to you. If you like this content, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, let me know. But until then, be true, be you, be blessed. Have a good day. Bye.
Catching shots from police. Never thought that I would see the day when I would have to pray for God to hold me down.